The crystal halls of the Imperial Palace Station reflected 1,000 lights as Princess Hana walked toward her future. Her silver gown trailed behind her, and the traditional crown of her people rested heavy on her head. She had practiced this walk for months, but her heart still beat faster than normal. Today she would marry a human. The ceremony hall was enormous. Thousands of guests from across the Talvari Empire filled the seats. Diplomats from dozens of alien species watched with careful eyes. Everyone wanted to see this historic moment. The first royal marriage between a Talvari princess and a human male. Hana reached the altar and finally saw him clearly. Daesung stood waiting in a simple black suit that humans wore for formal occasions. He was shorter than Talvari males, with dark hair and gentle eyes. When he smiled at her, it was a soft, nervous smile. He looked kind. He looked harmless. The high priest began the ceremony in the old tongue. Hana spoke her vows clearly as she had been taught. Daesung repeated his own vows in accented Talvari, stumbling slightly over the difficult words. Some of the courtiers in the front rows smiled at his mistakes. Hana felt a flash of irritation at their rudeness, but Daesung did not seem to notice or care. When the ceremony ended, they were married. The alliance between humanity and the Talvari Empire was now sealed by blood and law. The reception lasted for hours. Hana sat beside Daesung at the high table and watched the guests. Her father, the emperor, gave a long speech about friendship between species and the strength of unity. The human ambassador also spoke, thanking the Talvari for welcoming humanity into the galactic community. "Are you nervous?" Hana asked Daesung during a quiet moment. "Very," he admitted with that same gentle smile. "I have never been to anything this grand before. On Earth, I was just a teacher." "A teacher?" Hana found this interesting. "What did you teach?" "History and literature," Daesung said. "Old Earth cultures and ancient human civilizations." Not very exciting compared to all of this. Hana studied him. The intelligence report said he had been selected carefully. A peaceful man with no military background. Someone who would not cause problems. Someone safe. Over the next few weeks, they settled into their new life together. The Imperial Palace Station was vast, with gardens and libraries and observation decks that looked out into space. Hana had her duties as a princess, attending council meetings and diplomatic functions. Daesung had fewer responsibilities. He spent most of his time reading in the library or tending to a small garden he had started in their residential wing. The other humans on the station were mostly diplomats and trade officials. They seemed pleasant enough, always smiling and eager to help. They never caused trouble. They accepted every insult from other species with patience, because there were many insults. Hana heard them constantly. In the council chambers, military officers would joke about human weakness. "Their ships are so slow they could not catch a cargo freighter," one admiral said, and everyone laughed. In the dining halls, nobles would mock human size and strength. "I heard one of their soldiers tried to join our military training. He could not even finish the first exercise," a courtier told his friends loudly. Daesung heard these comments too. Hana watched his face carefully during these moments, but he never reacted. He would simply smile that patient smile and continue with whatever he was doing. Sometimes he would change the subject to something harmless like the weather or the food. "Does it not bother you?" Hana asked him one evening in their quarters. "The way they speak about your people?" Daesung looked up from the book he was reading. "It bothers me," he admitted. But getting angry would not help. "Humanity is new here. We need friends, not enemies. Sometimes you must accept disrespect to build trust." "That is very wise," Hana said. And it was, but part of her wished he would show more pride, more fire. As months passed, Hana found herself growing protective of her human husband. When courtiers made jokes about humanity, she would defend them. When military officers dismissed human technology, she would point out that humans had achieved space travel on their own, without help from other species. "You are kind to defend us," Daesung told her one night. They were in the observation lounge watching stars drift past. "But you do not need to. We can handle a few insults. Still," Hana said firmly, "you are my husband now, and humanity is our ally. They should show respect." Daesung smiled at her, and this time there was genuine warmth in it. "Thank you, Hana. That means more than you know." Their relationship was comfortable, if not passionate. They ate meals together and talked about simple things. Daesung would tell her stories about Earth, about oceans and mountains and cities that touched the sky. Hana would tell him about the different worlds of the Talvari Empire, about the crystal caves of Talvar Prime and the floating cities of Vendar. Sometimes at night, Hana would wake and find Dae-sung sitting by the window staring out at the stars. His expression in those moments was different, distant, sad perhaps. But when he noticed her watching, the gentle smile would return and he would come back to bed. Life was peaceful. Boring even. The most exciting thing that happened was when Dae-sung's garden finally produced its first tomatoes. And he made a traditional Earth dish called pasta for dinner. Then, 3 months after their wedding, news arrived from the border territories. The Krith Dominion had attacked a Talvari colony world. 3,000 civilians were dead. The Krith fleet was moving deeper into Talvari space. Hana watched the emergency council meeting from the gallery, as was her right as a princess. The military commanders spoke of strategy and defense. The emperor looked worried. This was serious. When she returned to their quarters, Dae-sung was watching the news broadcasts. His face was calm, but his hands gripped the armrests of his chair tightly. "This is terrible," Hana said, sitting beside him. "The Krith have been aggressive before, but never like this. They killed so many people." "War is always terrible," Dae-sung said quietly. His eyes never left the screen where images of the destroyed colony played over and over. "Will humanity help us?" Hana asked. "If the Krith continue attacking?" "Of course," Dae-sung said. "We are allies now. Where you go, we go." But something in his voice was different, harder. Hana looked at him carefully, but the moment passed and he was gentle Dae-sung again, reaching out to take her hand. "Do not worry," he said softly. "Everything will be fine." Hana wanted to believe him, but as she watched the news broadcast showing the burning colony, she felt a cold fear in her heart. War was coming, and she did not know if her peaceful human husband and his peaceful people would be any help at all. If only she knew the truth. If only she could see what Dae-sung really was beneath that gentle smile. But that revelation was still weeks away, and when it came, it would change everything she thought she knew about humanity. The attacks continued. Every few days, new reports arrived at the Imperial Palace Station. Another border world attacked. Another colony destroyed. The Krith Dominion was moving fast, and the Talvari military was struggling to respond. Hana attended every council meeting she could. Her father, the emperor, looked older each day. The military commanders argued constantly about where to send their fleets. There were not enough ships to defend every world. Hard choices had to be made. "We should pull back from the outer colonies," Admiral Torvak said during one meeting. "Focus our strength on protecting the core worlds. Let the Krith take the border territories. We can retake them later. Those are our people out there," another commander argued. "We cannot just abandon them." "We may have no choice," Torvak replied coldly. Better to lose a few colonies than lose everything. Hana felt sick. She knew he was right from a military perspective. But those few colonies contained millions of lives, including human settlements. When she returned to her quarters that evening, Dae-sung was already there. He was standing by the window looking out at the stars. He did not turn when she entered. "They are talking about abandoning the outer colonies," Hana said softly, "including the human settlements." Dae-sung was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, and his voice was colder than Hana had ever heard it. "Which settlements?" "Several mining colonies," Hana said. "And Hanbit Station." She saw Dae-sung's shoulders tense. His reflection in the window showed an expression she had never seen before. His gentle face was hard. His eyes were like ice. "How many people on Hanbit?" he asked. "About 50,000, Hana said. "Mostly farmers and their families. The council thinks it is not strategically important enough to defend." Dae-sung turned to face her, and for just a moment, Hana saw something frightening in his eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by his usual gentle expression, but she had seen it. Something cold and dangerous that lived beneath the surface. "I need to go to the human diplomatic quarters," Dae-sung said, "to speak with my people. They will be worried." "Of course," Hana said. "Do you want me to come with you?" "No," Dae-sung said quickly. Then softer, "No, thank you. This is something I should handle alone. To comfort them in our own language, our own way." He kissed her forehead gently and left. Hana stood alone in their quarters, thinking about that cold look in his eyes. She had never seen Dae-sung angry before. She had not even been sure he could get angry. Something was wrong. She could feel it. After waiting 10 minutes, Hana made a decision. She left their quarters and followed the path Dae-sung would have taken. The human diplomatic section was in the lower levels of the station, near the docking bays. Hana had only been there once before during a formal visit. She moved quietly through the corridors. Her royal status meant no one questioned her presence, but she avoided the main hallways anyway. Something told her to be careful, to not be seen. The human quarters were quieter than usual. Hana saw several human diplomats walking with quick, purposeful steps. Their usual smiles were gone. They looked serious, focused. Hana followed Dae-sung's path to a secure section she had not seen before. A heavy door marked with human writing. She could not read it, but she knew it said something about authorized personnel only. She should not enter. But that cold look in Dae-sung's eyes haunted her. She needed to know. Using her royal codes, Hana overrode the lock. The door slid open silently. Inside was a small corridor leading to another door. This one was slightly open and she could hear voices. Dae-sung's voice, but not gentle, hard and commanding. Hana moved closer and peeked through the crack in the door. The room inside was filled with computers and communication equipment. Dae-sung stood at a large screen talking to other humans. But these were not diplomats. They wore dark uniforms with military insignia. Behind them, Hana could see what looked like a ship's bridge. "Status report," Dae-sung said in English. Hana's translator implant converted the words instantly. "All units are standing by, Admiral," one of the uniformed humans replied. "Waiting for your orders, Admiral." Hana's hearts froze. Dae-sung was an admiral? "The Talvari Council is planning to abandon Hanbit Station," Dae-sung continued. His voice was nothing like the gentle tone he used with her. This was the voice of a commander, cold, precise. "What is our defensive capability? We have 6 ships in the Hanbit sector," another officer reported. "Running dark as per Protocol 7. The Talvari do not know they are there. Plus the orbital platforms we installed last year disguised as weather satellites." "Good," Dae-sung said. "Activate Contingency Plan Delta. If the Krith fleet moves on Hanbit, we engage. Full authorization. Rules of engagement level 0? Level 0, Admiral?" One officer sounded surprised. "That is the—" "I know what it is, Commander," Dae-sung interrupted. "If the Krith attack civilians, we show them why that was a mistake. Send the authorization codes. Wake up the sleeping giants. Yes, Admiral. Authorization codes sent. The fleet is going hot." Hana stepped back from the door, her mind racing. Fleet authorization codes? Rules of engagement level 0? What did any of this mean? She heard footsteps and quickly moved down the corridor, hiding in a side alcove. Dae-sung emerged from the secure room, his face calm again. He walked past her hiding spot without seeing her. Hana waited until he was gone, then hurried back to their quarters. She arrived several minutes before Dae-sung did, giving her time to compose herself. When he entered, she was sitting calmly on the couch reading a datapad. "How are your people?" she asked, keeping her voice normal. "Worried, but staying strong," Dae-sung said. He sat beside her with a tired sigh. "We are a resilient species. We have survived difficult times before. I am sure the Council will find a way to protect everyone," Hana said carefully, watching his face. "I am sure they will try their best," Dae-sung replied. His expression gave nothing away. That night, Hana could not sleep. She lay in bed listening to Dae-sung breathe beside her. He seemed peaceful, but she kept seeing that cold, hard expression on his face, hearing that commanding voice. "Admiral, fleet, rules of engagement level 0. Who was her husband really? What was humanity hiding?" The next morning, Hana made another decision. She went to the Imperial Intelligence Archives. As a princess, she had high-level security clearance. She requested all files on humanity, everything the Talvari had gathered during first contact and after. The files were extensive. But as Hana read through them, she started to notice something strange. Most of the information was about human culture, human technology, human trade capabilities, very little about human military history. She dug deeper, requesting older files from before humanity joined the galactic community. What she found made her blood run cold. Before first contact, humans had been fighting each other, a massive civil war that lasted 30 years. They called it the Unification Conflicts. Over 2 billion humans had died, a quarter of their entire population, but it was the weapons reports that horrified her. Kinetic kill vehicles that struck with the force of nuclear bombs, viral nanophages that could destroy entire armies, AI-controlled drone swarms that fought with terrifying efficiency. relativistic projectiles launched from ships traveling near light speed. These were weapons the Talvari had never even imagined. Weapons that violated every galactic treaty about acceptable warfare. And then suddenly the humans stopped fighting. They unified under a single government. They reached out to the galaxy with messages of peace. They joined the galactic community and signed every treaty put before them. They agreed to decommission their most dangerous weapons. The Talvari had been so relieved to find peaceful humans that they never asked hard questions. They never verified the decommissioning. They simply accepted what humanity showed them. But what if it was all a lie? Hana kept reading, her hands shaking. There was a note in the files from the Talvari ambassador, who had first met with humans. Recommended for integration, civilian population and retired military personnel only. They are eager to please and pose no threat. Retired military, like Daesung, who claimed to be a teacher. Hana searched for Daesung's name in the military databases. Nothing. He did not exist in human military records. Or rather, his records were sealed at the highest level of classification. She did not have clearance high enough to access them. But she had heard that other human call him Admiral. Hana closed the files and sat in the archive room, thinking. Her gentle, harmless husband was not who he claimed to be. And if he was hiding the truth, what else was humanity hiding? She needed to confront him. But not yet. First, she needed to know more. She needed to understand what humanity really was beneath their peaceful smiles and gentle words. Because the Krith were coming. And soon, Hana suspected, the truth about humanity would be revealed whether anyone wanted it or not. Days passed like a slow countdown to something terrible. The Krith Dominion fleet moved closer to Talvari space. More colonies fell. More people died, and Hana watched her husband carefully, seeing things she had never noticed before. The way Daesung's eyes tracked movement in crowded rooms, always aware of exits and threats. The way he stood perfectly still when thinking, like a predator waiting. The way his gentle smile never quite reached his eyes when military matters were discussed. How had she missed it before? Because she had wanted to see a harmless teacher, not a soldier. Because everyone had told her humans were weak and she had believed them. The Imperial Council met again. Hana sat in the gallery and listened as her father made the announcement she had been dreading. We do not have enough ships to defend every colony, the Emperor said heavily. The Krith fleet is too large, moving too fast. We must focus our forces on protecting the core worlds. I have given the order to evacuate the outer colonies, including Hanbit Station. What about evacuation ships? Someone asked. Can we get everyone out in time? Admiral Torvak shook his head. The Krith will arrive at Hanbit in 48 hours. We can evacuate perhaps 20,000 people in that time. The rest will have to shelter in place and hope the Krith pass them by. The Krith do not pass civilians by, another commander said quietly. We all know what they do to undefended colonies. Silence fell over the council. Everyone knew. The Krith took slaves, or worse. Hana looked down at the council floor and saw the human ambassador Minji standing among the other diplomats. Her face was calm, but Hana could see tension in her shoulders. She was holding a communication device, probably connected to Daesung. When the meeting ended, Hana did not return to her quarters. Instead, she followed Ambassador Minji. The human woman walked quickly through the corridors, heading toward the secure section Hana had discovered before. Hana kept her distance but stayed close enough to hear when Minji entered the communication room. The door did not close completely. Through the gap, Hana heard voices. The council has made their decision, Minji was saying. They are abandoning Hanbit. I know. That was Daesung's voice. I was monitoring the meeting. How long do we have? 48 hours until the Krith arrive, another voice said. But the evacuation ships will not be able to take everyone. 30,000 civilians will be left behind. Not acceptable, Daesung said, and his voice was ice. Contact Fleet Command. Full deployment authorization. No more hiding. Admiral, if we reveal ourselves now, the Talvari will know we have been lying to them. Minji said carefully. The alliance could collapse. If we let 30,000 civilians die when we could save them, we do not deserve an alliance. Daesung replied. Contact Earth. Tell them I am invoking command authority. Operation Sentinel is now active. Yes, Admiral. What about Princess Hana? She is your wife. She will have questions. There was a long pause. Then Daesung spoke and Hana heard something like pain in his voice. I will tell her the truth. She deserves that much. I should have told her from the beginning. Hana stepped back from the door, her heart's pounding.
She had heard enough.
More than enough. She returned to their quarters and waited. She did not have to wait long. Within an hour, Daesung arrived. He looked tired and somehow older than he had that morning. "We need to talk," Hana said before he could speak. "And I want the truth. All of it." Daesung looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "You already know something." "How much?" "I know you are not a teacher," Hana said. "I know you are an admiral. I know humans fought a terrible war before joining the galaxy, and I know you have been lying since the day we met." To her surprise, Daesung did not deny it. He simply nodded and sat down heavily. "You are right. About all of it. I am sorry, Hana. I wanted to tell you, but my orders were clear. No one could know the truth." "What truth?" Hana demanded. "What is humanity really?" Daesung looked at his hands. "When humans first detected alien signals from space, we were excited, hopeful. We thought we would find friends among the stars. But we also remembered our history, how first contact between human cultures often ended badly for the weaker side. So you prepared for war," Hana said. "No," Daesung corrected. "We prepared to survive. When we finally met the Talvari and the other species, we saw how powerful you were, how advanced. Your ships were faster than ours, your weapons stronger, your empire vast. If you saw us as a threat, you could destroy us." "We would never," Hana began, but Daesung held up his hand. "Maybe not the Talvari," he said. "But what about the others? The species who see newcomers as resources to exploit? We needed to join the galactic community, but we needed to do it safely, so we made a choice." "You hid your strength," Hana said. "Yes," Daesung agreed. "We showed you what you wanted to see. Peaceful humans, weak humans, harmless humans. We sent only civilians and retired military to be our diplomats. We followed every rule and signed every treaty. We made ourselves look like we posed no threat." "But you kept your weapons," Hana said. "We kept some of them, yes," Daesung admitted. "Hidden away, hoping we would never need them, and we continued developing new ones in secret. Because the universe is dangerous, Hana. You cannot rely on others to protect you. In the end, every species must be able to protect itself." Hana felt betrayed, but she also understood. "Who are you really, Daesung?" "What was your rank?" "Admiral Kang Daesung," he said formally. "Commander of the 3rd Fleet Earth Defense Force. I served for 25 years, mostly during the unification conflicts. After the wars ended, I retired. But when the integration program was created, they asked me to volunteer. Someone with military experience who could also play the role of a civilian diplomat." "So everything was a lie," Hana said bitterly. "The teaching, the gardening, the gentle smiles." "Not everything," Daesung said softly. "I really was a teacher before I joined the military. I really do love gardening in old books. And my feelings for you, Hana, those are real. I did not expect to care about you when we married. But I do, very much." Hana wanted to believe him. But how could she trust anything he said now? "What about the other humans on this station? Are they all military too?" "Most of them, yes," Daesung admitted. "Playing their roles, waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For moments like this," Daesung said. "When peaceful solutions fail and someone needs to make hard choices." "Hanbit Station," Hana realized. "You are not going to let it fall, are you?" "No," Daesung said simply. "I am not. How?" Hana asked. "The Council decided there are not enough ships. The Krith fleet is too strong. The Council does not know about our ships," Daesung said. "We have 6 warships in the Hanbit sector. They have been there for months, running dark, invisible to Talvari sensors, plus defensive platforms we installed around Hanbit last year, disguised as civilian satellites." Hana stared at him. "You have been preparing to defend Hanbit all along, even though it is supposed to be just a farming colony." "We have been preparing to defend every human colony," Daesung corrected, "because we learned a long time ago that if you want peace, you must be ready for war." "The Talvari will see your ships," Hana said. "They will know you have been hiding military forces. The alliance will be destroyed." "Maybe," Daesung agreed. "But I would rather lose an alliance than let 30,000 people die when I have the power to save them." Hana stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. She was angry. She felt betrayed. But she also understood. In Daesung's position, would she have done differently? If the Talvari were the newcomers in a galaxy of powerful aliens, Would they not have taken precautions? What happens now? She asked finally. Now I go to Hanbit, Daesung said. I take command of the fleet and defend that colony. After that, whatever happens, happens. You could be court-martialed, Hana said, by both the Talvari and your own people. I know, Daesung said calmly. But it is the right thing to do. Hana turned to face him. She saw him clearly now. Not the gentle teacher, but the warrior underneath. The man who had commanded fleets in humanity's bloodiest wars. The man who had made hard choices before and would make them again. And despite her anger, despite feeling betrayed, she felt something else too. Respect. I want to see it, she said suddenly. The battle. I want to understand what humanity really is. Daesung looked surprised. It will be dangerous. I am a princess of the Talvari Empire, Hana said firmly. I do not run from danger. And you are my husband, whether you are a teacher or an admiral. If you are going to reveal what humanity truly is, I want to be there to witness it. Daesung studied her face for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Very well, but you must follow my orders on the ship. No arguments. Agreed, Hana said. Then she added, Admiral. For the first time since entering the room, Daesung smiled. But this was not his gentle smile. This was the smile of a warrior preparing for battle. And Hana realized with a chill that she was about to learn just how dangerous humanity could really be. The human ship was nothing like Hana expected. From the outside, it had looked like a standard cargo vessel. But once inside, she saw the truth. The corridors were narrow and efficient. The walls were reinforced metal. And everywhere she looked, she saw weapon systems and military equipment. Welcome to the Indomitable, Daesung said as he led her through the ship. He wore a dark uniform now with Admiral's insignia on his shoulders. He looked different in it, harder, more dangerous. She is a Falcon-class destroyer, one of humanity's newest designs. The crew they passed in the hallways all saluted Daesung crisply. They wore the same dark uniforms and moved with military precision. These were not diplomats or merchants. These were soldiers. The bridge was compact and filled with screens showing sensor data and tactical information. Officers worked at their stations with focused intensity. When Daesung entered, the captain turned and saluted. Admiral on the bridge, she announced. Ship is ready for departure, sir. Thank you, Captain Yunji, Daesung said. Take us out. Maximum stealth protocols until we reach Hanbit. Yes, sir. Hana watched as the ship detached from the Imperial Palace station. No one tried to stop them. As far as the Talvari were concerned, this was just a civilian ship leaving on routine business. Once they were away from the station, Daesung turned to Hana. You can watch from the observation station there, he said, pointing to a raised platform at the back of the bridge. But stay quiet and do not interfere with operations. Hana nodded and took her position. From there she could see everything but would not be in the way. The journey to Hanbit took 18 hours at maximum speed. During that time, Hana watched the crew work. They were efficient and professional. No wasted words or movements. Every person knew their job perfectly. Daesung spent most of the time reviewing tactical data and speaking with other ships via secure communication channels. Hana learned that there were not 6 human ships near Hanbit, as Daesung had first said. There were 12. All of them had been hiding in the system, waiting. Approaching Hanbit system, Captain Yunji announced. Sensors detect the Krith fleet. 27 ships, various classes. They are moving into attack position around the colony. Show me, Daesung ordered. The main screen changed to show Hanbit Station. It was a large orbital platform with agricultural pods extending from its sides. On the planet below, Hana could see the farms that fed the colony. It looked peaceful and vulnerable. The Krith fleet surrounded it like predators circling prey. Their ships were brutal and ugly, covered in weapons and armor. 27 against 1 undefended colony. The Talvari evacuation ships are still loading refugees, an officer reported. They will not finish in time. Estimate 15,000 civilians still on the station when the Krith attack. Hana felt sick. 15,000 people about to die. All human ships report status, Daesung ordered. One by one, the reports came in. 12 ships, all running dark, all positioned around the system. The Krith had no idea they were there. Defensive platforms are active and armed, another officer reported. The Krith still think they are weather satellites. Good, Daesung said. His voice was cold and calm. Wait for my command. When we engage, I want it to be decisive. The Krith need to learn a lesson today. On the screen, the Krith fleet began moving toward Hanbit Station. Their weapons powered up. They were getting ready to attack. Talvari evacuation ships are pulling away, Captain Yunji said. They got 12,000 people out. 3,000 civilians remain on the station. Sir, the Krith flagship is hailing Hanbit, a communications officer said. They are demanding surrender. Put it on speakers, Daesung ordered. A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking in Krith. Hana's translator converted it. Human colony. You are now property of the Krith Dominion. Surrender and you will be taken as workers. Resist and you will be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide. Silence on the bridge. Hana saw the human crew's faces. They were angry. These were their people being threatened. They are not going to surrender. Daesung said quietly. They are going to fight with whatever they have and die. Unless we stop this now. He stood up from his command chair. All ships go hot. Defensive platforms activate. It is time to stop hiding. Things happened very fast after that. Around the system, 12 human ships suddenly appeared on sensors as their stealth systems deactivated. The satellites around Hanbit revealed themselves as weapons platforms, bristling with railguns and missile launchers. On the Krith fleet's communications channel, there was confusion and alarm. They had expected to find a defenseless colony. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by warships. This is Admiral Kang Daesung of the Terran Defense Initiative, Daesung said, his voice broadcast to all ships in the system. You are in violation of human territorial space and have threatened civilian populations. This is your only warning. Leave immediately or we will remove you. The Krith response came quickly. Their weapons locked onto the human ships. Their flagship sent a message full of threats and mockery. So be it, Daesung said. All ships weapons free. Engage at will. What happened next changed everything Hana thought she knew about warfare. The defensive platforms around Hanbit fired first. Not energy beams like most galactic weapons, but solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. Railgun slugs traveling at 20% of light speed. The Krith flagship's shields meant nothing. The projectile punched through them like they were paper and struck the ship's main hull. The impact released energy equal to a nuclear weapon. The flagship simply exploded, vaporized in an instant. The human ships opened fire with their own weapons. Missiles that moved impossibly fast, dodging and weaving around Krith defensive fire. Electronic warfare systems that hacked into Krith computers and turned their own systems against them. Hana watched in horror and amazement as 3 Krith cruisers suddenly lost control. Their engines fired at maximum power, sending them spinning helplessly into each other. The collisions destroyed all 3 ships. Targets 17, 18, and 19 neutralized via electronic warfare, an officer reported calmly. Remaining Krith ships are trying to jam our signals. Switch to quantum communication protocols, Daesung ordered. They cannot jam what they cannot detect. The battle continued. It was not really a battle, Hana realized. It was a slaughter. The Krith fought bravely, but they were completely outmatched. Human weapons were faster, more accurate, more devastating than anything the Krith had faced before. One Krith ship tried to ram the Indomitable in desperation. The human destroyer simply accelerated out of the way with impossible speed, then fired a weapon Hana had never seen before. A beam of pure energy that cut the Krith ship in half. What was that? Hana whispered. Particle beam weapon, Captain Yunji said quietly. She had noticed Hana's shock. Focused stream of particles accelerated to near light speed. Very effective against armor. In less than 30 minutes it was over. The Krith fleet was destroyed. 17 ships were gone completely. The remaining 10 were damaged and fleeing at maximum speed. None of them looked back. Pursuit course, sir? Captain Yunji asked. Negative, Daesung said. Let them run. Let them tell their commanders what happened here. Send a message to Krith Dominion leadership. If they attack human colonies again, we will not be so gentle. Gentle? Hana thought. They destroyed 17 ships in less than an hour. Hanbit Station reports all civilians are safe, a communications officer said. They are sending thanks and asking for our identification. Tell them the truth, Daesung said. Tell them the Terran Defense Initiative has been protecting them all along. Silence fell over the bridge. The crew was proud, Hana could see. They had protected their people. They had won a total victory, but Hana knew what this meant. The secret was out now. The galaxy would know that humanity had been hiding its strength. That humans were not weak and harmless. Sir, Receiving multiple priority messages from Earth Command, the communications officer said, and from the Imperial Palace Station. The Talvari military is demanding to know what just happened. I am sure they are, Dae-sung said dryly. He turned to Hana. I am sorry you had to see that. I know it was violent. You saved 3,000 lives, Hana said quietly. You stopped a massacre. Yes, Dae-sung agreed. But at what cost? The Talvari will see this as betrayal. We lied about our capabilities, about everything. You did what you had to do to survive, Hana said. She was thinking of those 30 minutes of battle. The terrifying efficiency of human weapons, the cold precision of human tactics. This was what humanity really was beneath the gentle smiles. The galaxy is going to change now, Dae-sung said, looking at the tactical display showing the fleeing Krith ships. Other species will see what humans can do. Some will fear us. Some will hate us. Some will want us as allies even more. What do you want? Hana asked. Dae-sung looked at her, and for a moment he was gentle again. I want what I have always wanted. Peace. A chance for humanity to live safely among the stars. But I learned a long time ago that peace is not given. It is earned. Through strength. Through the willingness to fight when necessary. Through being the monster when monsters come, Hana said, remembering what he had told her once. Yes, Dae-sung said. Exactly that. On the screen, Hanbit Station's lights were shining. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Human ships had destroyed a Krith fleet. Humans had weapons that matched or exceeded the most advanced military technology in known space. Humans had been lying about their capabilities since joining the galactic community. The reaction was immediate and explosive. The Indomitable received its first message while still traveling back to the Imperial Palace Station. It was from the Talvari Military Command, ordering Dae-sung to return immediately to face questions. The tone was cold and formal. The second message came from the Galactic Council itself. Emergency sessions were being called. Humanity's membership in the galactic community was under review. Words like deception and violation of trust appeared throughout the message. The third message came from Earth. Dae-sung read it privately in his quarters while Hana waited outside. When he emerged, his face was grim. I have been recalled to Earth, he said, to answer for my actions. Some in our government think I went too far by revealing our capabilities. Others think I did not go far enough. What do you think? Hana asked. I think I saved 3,000 lives, Dae-sung said simply. That is enough for me. When the Indomitable docked at the Imperial Palace Station, a full security detail was waiting. Not to arrest Dae-sung, but to escort him to the throne room. The Emperor himself wanted answers. Hana walked beside her husband through the crystal halls. The looks they received from courtiers and officials were different now. No more contempt or mockery. Now there was fear and anger. The throne room was packed with nobles, military commanders, and ambassadors from dozens of species. Everyone wanted to hear what would happen next. The Emperor sat on his throne looking older and more tired than Hana had ever seen him. Admiral Kang Dae-sung, the Emperor said formally, you stand accused of deception against the Talvari Empire, of hiding military capabilities, of violating treaties regarding the disclosure of military assets. How do you answer these charges? Dae-sung stood straight and spoke clearly. Guilty, Your Majesty. On all counts. Shocked murmurs filled the throne room. Most people had expected denials or excuses. You admit it? The Emperor asked, surprised. Yes, Dae-sung said. Humanity has been hiding our true military strength since joining the galactic community. We have maintained secret fleets, continued weapons development, and placed military personnel in civilian roles. All of this violated the spirit, if not the letter, of our agreements. Then why? The Emperor demanded. Why deceive us? We welcomed humanity. We offered friendship and alliance. Because we were afraid, Dae-sung said simply. When humanity first reached the stars and discovered we were not alone, we were excited. But we were also terrified. We saw empires spanning hundreds of worlds. Technology far beyond ours, species that could destroy us without effort. We needed to join the galactic community for survival, but we also needed to protect ourselves. So you lied to us, Admiral Torvak said angrily. You made us think you were weak when you were strong. Yes, Dae-sung agreed. Because history taught us that the strong exploit the weak. Every species in this room knows this. How many worlds did the Talvari conquer before becoming an empire? How many weaker species were absorbed? We did not want that to happen to humanity. The Talvari are not conquerors anymore, the Emperor said, but his voice was less certain. Perhaps not, Daesung said, but others are. The Krith Dominion is proof of that. They saw weakness and attacked. If humanity had shown our true strength from the beginning, would we have been welcomed? Or would we have been seen as a threat to be contained? No one answered, because everyone in the room knew the truth. A strong unknown species appearing suddenly would have frightened the galaxy. There would have been demands for restrictions, for monitoring, for limits on human expansion. Humanity had chosen deception over subjugation. You saved lives at Hanbit, the Emperor acknowledged. For that, we are grateful. But you have broken trust. How can we believe anything humanity says now? Before Daesung could answer, alarms sounded throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed. A military officer rushed into the throne room. Your Majesty, he said urgently, the Krith Dominion has launched a massive counterattack. They are moving on our core worlds, multiple fleets, hundreds of ships. Our forces are outnumbered 3-1. Shocked silence filled the room. Then chaos as everyone started talking at once. How many ships do we have available? The Emperor demanded. Not enough, Admiral Torvak said grimly. We spread our forces too thin defending the colonies. If the Krith hit our core worlds now, we will lose them. And if we lose the core worlds, the Empire falls. The Emperor looked old and defeated. Hana felt fear grip her hearts. This was it. The end of everything. Then a voice spoke from the back of the room. We can help, everyone turned. The human ambassador, Minji, had spoken. She looked at Daesung, who nodded slowly. The Terran Defense Initiative has more ships, Minji said. Not just the 12 at Hanbit. Many more hidden throughout space. If you allow us to help, we can turn the tide of this battle. More deception, someone shouted. How many ships?
How much have you been hiding?
Enough, Daesung said quietly. Enough to make a difference. The Emperor stared at him. Why should I trust you now? After all the lies? Because 3,000 people are alive at Hanbit because of those lies, Hana said, stepping forward. Everyone looked at her in surprise. She had not planned to speak, but she could not stay silent. Because humanity prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Because they understood something we forgot, that peace only lasts when you are strong enough to defend it. Princess Hana, her father said slowly, you defend them? After they deceived you most of all? I defend them because I understand them now, Hana said. Father, I watched the battle at Hanbit. I saw what human weapons can do. It was terrifying. But I also saw restraint. They could have destroyed the entire Krith fleet. Instead, they let survivors escape. To carry a message. To warn others not to attack civilians. She turned to address the entire room. Humanity is dangerous. They have weapons that frighten me. But they have shown they will use those weapons to protect the innocent. Can we say the same? We were ready to abandon Hanbit. To let thousands die because it was not strategically important. Humanity saved them anyway. Pretty words, Admiral Torvak said. But the fact remains they lied. How can we work with liars? Every species in this room has secrets, Daesung said calmly. Every military has classified programs. The difference is that humanity's secrets were bigger because we needed them to survive. But now those secrets can save us all. The question is not whether we lied. The question is whether you will let pride kill millions of your people when help is available. The Emperor looked at his military commanders. How long before the Krith reach our core worlds? 2 days, Admiral Torvak said. Maybe 3. And how long to gather our forces? Not fast enough, the Admiral admitted. We will lose at least 2 core worlds. Maybe 3. Billions of lives. The Emperor closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he looked directly at Daesung. If I authorize joint operations with human forces, what do you need? Command authority for the combined fleet, Daesung said immediately. Full tactical control. And trust. Your people need to trust that we are not the enemy. That is asking a lot, the Emperor said. Yes, Daesung agreed. But the Krith are asking for everything, choose. The throne room was silent. Hana could see her father weighing the options. Pride versus survival. Trust versus necessity. Finally, the Emperor spoke. Very well. Joint operations are authorized. Admiral Kang, you will have command of the combined fleet. But know this, if humanity betrays us again, there will be no forgiveness. Understood, Your Majesty. Daesung said. I will not betray your trust. Not again. Within hours, human ships began appearing throughout Talvari space. Not just the 12 from Hanbit, but dozens more. Sleek destroyers, massive carriers, fast frigates, all marked with the symbol of the Terran Defense Initiative, a shield surrounding Earth. Hana watched from the bridge of the Indomitable as the combined fleet assembled. Talvari ships in their elegant silver, human ships in their practical black. Together they formed the largest battle fleet the galaxy had seen in centuries. The Krith came as predicted, their fleet darkening space with its numbers. But they found something they did not expect. Unity. The Talvari and humans fought together, each species' strengths covering the other's weaknesses. Talvari shields protected human ships. Human weapons struck from impossible ranges. Talvari fighters provided close support. Human electronic warfare blinded Krith sensors. The battle raged for hours. But slowly, surely, the Krith were pushed back. Their ships were faster than expected losses. Their tactics were countered before they could be executed. When the Krith finally retreated, they had lost half their fleet. The war ended 3 months later with a Krith surrender. They had learned that attacking the Talvari now meant facing human weapons as well. It was a lesson they would not forget. After the final treaty was signed, Hana stood with Daesung on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. The war was over, but everything had changed. The galaxy fears us now, Daesung said quietly. That was what we tried to avoid, but they respect you too, Hana said. Fear and respect together.
Is that so bad?